the 7-figure sales blueprint. If you genuinely want to go out there and make 6 and 7-figure deals, sales, pitch products and services, you need to understand how to break through the noise, how to have the conversation, and how to get that real skill set that very few actually have. When you understand the art of the 7-figure sales blueprint, you will realize that what everybody else is doing is not effective. And when you understand how it works, you will get game-changing results. As we go through this, the 3 steps to the 7-figure sales blueprint will become very apparent. All you need to do is go through the motions, go through the gears. You can't skip them as you go. And I guarantee the results you will get will be far more lucrative than what everybody else is doing. When you're looking at sales, a lot of people think that it's a cloak and dagger strategy, that selling something to somebody, and this is why, much like public speaking, this is why people think that sales is like a dark art, why it makes them nervous, while they feel intimidated and self-conscious. When you're doing speaking or delivering a podcast like this, if I'm trying to think about what I'm trying to say, it can make you nervous. It can make you ironically, can make you stutter or pause for what you're going to say, because what you're doing is you're consciously trying to think about it. Speaking is a subconscious art. When you're sitting there having a conversation, you don't actively think about what you're going to say. When you try to make it a conscious act, that's when it becomes difficult to public speak and things like that. Sales is no different. Sales is not twisting people's arms. It's not trying to convince them to buy something they don't buy. Same as everything. Success and failure are very predictable. There's a blueprint to follow, and that's what we're going to cover in this podcast. What we want to identify here is who we don't want to be and who we do want to be. So who we do want to be is, I sell pretty much every day of my life, whether I'm talking to clients, suppliers, delivering content. I'm always selling, whatever I'm doing. But the reason that it doesn't come across as sales, and the reason that I don't feel uncomfortable about it, and the reason that it's effective but it's not uncomfortable, is that all I'm doing is matching my objectives with what I'm trying to achieve, that I'm naturally trying to promote, share, sell things that 100% absolutely work. And I de-risk the whole process by communicating it in a way that is efficient, it's effective, it's accessible, and it's engaging. And this is what the 3-part blueprint that we're going to look at in this podcast is all about. So if you want to make sales, what you don't want to be is the telesales person. So next time somebody asks, can we have a call? Can we jump on a Zoom? Can we have a coffee? And they turn up and you know that they're there to sell their product or service. This could be a professional advisor, a company that's pitching for your work, a marketing company, social media company, an insurance broker, a pension seller, etc. What you're going to see immediately, now that you know this, is the way not to do it. And in the same way that I said about a public speaker is being self-conscious because they're thinking, what do the audience think of me? We want to flip it on its head and think, how can I give most value to them? If you go into a sales or if you go into a speaking event and just in your head think, how do I best serve here? Or in your head think, how can I add the most value here? And you think about what you can add to the audience rather than what the audience thinks to you, it will become much more natural. Where we get a normal sales pitch that doesn't work is where somebody turns up, has, to be fair, absolutely no interest in you or what you do or who you are, and they proceed to say, oh, it's great to meet you. Thank you for meeting me. Let me tell you a little bit about me. Let me tell you a little bit about our company. We were founded here. We deliver these products. We've won these awards. The reality is that's not effective because although 80% of salespeople take that approach, it's not effective. You've been on the receiving end of that, and you don't want to hear about their business. You don't really care about their products and service. You want to know, what can they do for you? And it normally takes 5, 10, 15 minutes of listening to the opening of the pitch. Let me tell you about what we do. That's how it opens. Let's just scrap all of that. We don't want any of that. What we want to do is flip gears, and we want to be 2 ears, 1 mouth. We want to go into the speaking event, adding value to the audience, into the sales conversation, thinking not what's in it for me, trying to tell you about my business, but what's in it for you as a client, as a customer. You've got a problem that needs solving. What is it you're actually looking for, and can I solve that? That's the first game changer for this blueprint. Most traditional salespeople won't think like that. They'll think, I've got targets to hit. I need to make this sale. I need to do everything I can to force a transaction. What we're going to look at instead is completely de-risking sales, completely deleveraging it, completely taking the anxiety, the friction, the experience of being uncomfortable in the process, and just making it a lot more natural. And the easy way we do this is follow the 3-step blueprint. So the blueprint that we use for the 7-figure sales process is called RSC. And R is all about rapport building, S is all about sales conversation, and C is all about the close. You can't skip the gears when you're going through the motion. If you get in your car at the traffic lights and stick straight into 5th gear, it's going to stall, it's going to be over before you start it. You have to go through the gears. So we're going to start off with step 1, which is all about rapport. And when you open a sales conversation, it might be a phone call, it might be a personal meeting, it might be a first meeting, it might be actually a sales meeting where you're invited to pitch. What we want to do, the first port of call, is to establish rapport. We don't want to sell, we don't want to close, we don't want to tell them about us or our products or service. All we want to do is establish rapport. What rapport means is to establish a relationship where both people feel like they've got common ground, they feel comfortable in each other's company, they relax, they open up. Before the conversation, it might be quite formal, shaking hands, crossed arms, lots of closed body language. But when you've established rapport, the arms become open, the shoulders start to relax, perhaps the tonality starts to become more variant, up and down, and more relaxed. Perhaps the vocabulary becomes more casual. You might start, rather than using full names, Daniel, Robert, Dan, you might start calling it Daniel and Robert. You might start calling it Dan or Rob. They might say mate. They might say call you mate, or just use terminology that feels more relaxed. They might even, in some situations, depends where you are, they might swear. As soon as they've dropped a swear word or said mate, that's rapport established. So how do we go through that motion? Like, you don't want to be in rapport for an hour. Let's say you've got an hour to work with. You don't want to spend 45 minutes on rapport. You want to get in and out. You want to establish it. You want it to be efficient, but you want it to be effective. So how do we do that? Well, the first is 2 ears, 1 mouth. Ask questions and let them talk. How's your day been so far? Oh yeah, it's been great. That's obviously small talk. How's the business going at the minute? Are you doing well? You seen any issues with inflation? How's general activity been? Let them talk. What's the plan for the 12 months ahead? What challenge? How did you get on through COVID? What's your business focusing on at the moment? And what you want to do is show genuine interest, let them talk, compliment them, make them feel important, but don't use false compliments because they do more damage than good. Show a genuine interest, make them feel important, recognize their successes, give them credit, and just try and provide an environment where they relax. What we're really looking for is a common ground in rapport building. So maybe you both grew up in the same city. Maybe her children support the same local football team as yours did. Maybe you both wear the same aftershave, whatever. Find some common ground, get into the commonality, relax the conversation, 2 ears, 1 mouth, allow them to feel important, allow them to feel listened to, and then we start to move into the sales conversation. Establishing rapport when you're effective and efficient could be as little as 5 or 10 minutes, because you can naturally flow into the sales conversation without anyone noticing a transition. When you're doing this for the first time, it might take slightly longer because it's going to take you a while to get relaxed. You're going to have to find the things that work. You're going to have to feel comfortable and accommodating to enable them to do it. But equally, you want to avoid it going into small talk. If you start hearing things about how long did it take you to get here? What was the traffic like? Where are you going on holiday this year? Isn't the weather horrendous at the minute? Then the danger is you've slipped into small talk and you're not developing rapport. You're actually going in the wrong direction. So as soon as we've got that rapport, that common ground, that respect, that removing that formality to some degree, we then move into the sales conversation. And this is where some of you will get nervous. You'll feel nervous about trying to sell, telling them about your product, feeling like you're going to pitch. But when we have a sales conversation, all we're trying to do is one thing. One is which is to establish their objectives, to establish their problems, and then see if our solutions and services and products actually match those problems and objectives that they've got. So then what we do is we move into it, and you can consciously move in and say, oh yeah. And then a good segue would be something like, so really great to be here today. I've watched your business from a distance for a while, been really keen to have a conversation. And then rather than say, let me tell you about the products and services we have, you say, my understanding from XYZ is that this is where you are, or this is a challenge you might have, or that you might be exploring using these products and services for this reason. Before we start exploring that, can you just give me some context? You know, what are your objectives? What are you trying to achieve? What problems are you currently experiencing? So if I was to flip this on my head with, say, a non-exec role, if somebody's asking me to join their board as a non-exec, it's £30,000 a year, it's application only, it's a significant price point, but more than anything, one of the top tips I'll share with you at the end is I'm not trying to sell it. What I'm trying to find is what I've got to offer going to be of genuine value to the person who I'm discussing it with, and is it going to be a win-win for both parties? So what I might say is, you know, just share with me where you are at the minute as a business. You know, what have the successes been? What have the problems been? Well, we've had loads of sales, we've had loads of growth, it's gone really well, and we're really happy where it's got to, but we've now hit a glass ceiling, we're struggling to grow, or we're now starting to have some growing pains, and we feel like we can't grow because we've got too many internal issues. What we do here then is start to have a sales conversation. And the first part of it is to relate and resonate. So the first is to understand that you have or to establish that you have an understanding of their business. So they'll say, oh, you know, we've grown and we've hit a glass ceiling. Say, right, what glass ceiling have you hit? Well, we've grown with social media up to here, but we're just struggling to go any further. So, oh yeah, we had a very similar experience. We were able to grow up to £2 million a year using organic reach. After that, we had to use sponsored ads, paid advertising, click funnels to take it to the next level. Completely understand that, had that challenge ourselves. Or they might say, we have absolutely no problem. What we're trying to do is get people to appreciate that, one, they don't need to feel bad for having these problems, and two, that you actually not only understand it, but have the solution for it. So the second might be that they have no issue getting leads. No issues getting leads. We've doubled in size every year for 5 years. The problem is we've got lots of internal issues. I completely understand. When I had a little business, it was highly lucrative. We just had 2 offices. We were doing 40% net margin. It was a great place to be. Then we scaled up to 4 or 5 offices, and all of a sudden we had growing pains. You know, more businesses choke to death than starve. You know, the reality is, if you're delivering a world-class product and service like you guys are, the problem you're going to have is you're not going to starve as a business. You're more likely to choke because businesses' revenue exceeds their operations and they can't grow with it. So what we need to do here is slow down to speed up. And this is where the sales conversation starts. So we want to relate. I understand. We want to resonate. I had that problem and it felt like this. And then we want to explore and say, right, well, that's where you are at the minute. Where do you want to get to? Well, we'd like to go to this point. And then you say, right, well, these are the problems you're going to experience. So the first is going to be, if you're talking about, let's just use the same example of a growing company and I'm pitching for consultancy. So it's like, not pitching, you know what I mean? I've been invited in to see if they want some support on their board with growth. You say, right, well, you want to get to here. So you're currently doing 2 million and you want to get up to 5 million. Excellent. Well, the first thing to acknowledge is it's not going to be a linear process. And what you're doing here is managing expectations, because what you don't want to do is what everyone does, the used car salesman. Yeah, no, it's a £200,000 Rolls Royce. You can buy that today and it'll be worth £150,000 on its worst day. To me, I'm like, that sounds too good to be true. Or you go into a clothes shop and the clothes person comes over and goes, oh, are you thinking about buying this? You're like, oh yeah, I'm not sure. It looks amazing. It looks incredible on you. It looks great. You'd much rather respect somebody that says, look, I'll be honest with you, you're buying this car just before the bottom of the depreciation curve. It's going to go down another 20 grand before it levels out. If you were to buy one that's 12 months older, and we might be able to get one for you, you would be able to ride out that 20K. However, it might take 6 to 18 months to be able to get you it. Or you can buy it now, but just appreciate you're going to lose 20% of that curve. It's a lot more honest. It's a lot more respectable. It's a lot more believable. Same as the clothes store person. going into the sales conversation, rather than saying, this is amazing, you've got to buy this, the world is full of sunshine and rainbows, they say, you know, you're not sure about this. Be honest, honestly, I'm not sure about that. For you, let's look at a couple of other items to compare it. And if you're genuinely looking out for them, whether that is the right item, and you use a couple of other items to frame it. So you frame it by saying, well, let's try these. Oh, now we've tried these, without a doubt, this is the best one for you. Or you know that it's not right for them. You don't want to offend them and make them look silly. Why the hell are you looking at that? Let's look at these items. You go and find them something that will make them look good for their job interview, a dress that will suit their partner's dinner jacket that's going to be X, Y, Z. You know, genuinely looking to establish respect and just being genuine and frank and honest. If you read my book, Karma Credits, it's all about this sort of playing the long game. So we say, yeah, you know, you want to go to here, and then what you can do is use your expertise to qualify the journey. And this is getting the good balance of the pros and the cons, the reality versus the romance. Yeah, you know, going from 2 million to 5 million or 2 million to 20 million, absolutely. You know, whatever your realm of objective is. And then what you do is give them some transparency and say, yeah, very achievable. Few things to note. One is you need to slow down, speed up. In order to do that, we probably need to have 6 to 12 months of consolidation, which would be a process which we call the winter hit list, moving from a hub and spoke wheel management model to a siloed approach, establishing KPIs and one numbers, you know, all of this sort of stuff. Then what we've got to do is manage expectations of like, right, well, these are going to be the next key things. And each time we're giving them the pros and cons. The benefit of growth is when we get there, we will have higher revenue and we will have a higher bottom line net profit. Consideration is businesses don't grow in linear form. They grow in cyclical form. So to actually go to the next step, we're going to go into the dip and we're going to lose money. So actually we can go from 2 to 5 and be profitable, but from 3 to 4.5, it's not actually going to be profitable because we're going to need overheads before we get the revenue. We're going to need managers before we can recruit the team. And you just manage expectations. And what we do for this process is genuinely look at what are their objectives, what are their problems, and then what products and solutions have we got to help them do it, and how's it actually going to work. And then what we do is we establish the sales conversation, see if what we've got to offer does work. If it doesn't work, don't try and sell them to it because it's a complete false economy. Even if they do smile and wave all the way through the deal, they're definitely not going to go out recommending and referring you to people because you were the wrong person and you missold them anyway. Have you got what meets what they want? Explore it, the pros, the cons, the challenges and the opportunities, and just be really frank in the sales conversation as to what this journey is going to look like and how your solution and product matches their problems and their objectives. And then finally, and that will be, you know, the majority of the conversation, but the reality is 80% of salespeople will leave it there. And they'll leave these leads, these planes circling overhead without actually closing it. Now, especially in Britain, British culture, English culture, we don't like to be sold to. Anyone who's going to, if we buy anything from anyone, we feel like they've had one over on us. We just don't like that experience. But 80% of people leave these planes circling the airport. If you're going to actually make sales, hit target and grow, you've got to land those sales. You've got to close it. And this is the RSC. C is the close. The last 10%, 20%, you've got to actually close it. And the way that we do this is you've got to provide a reason for people to buy. People don't buy what they want to buy. They buy what other people want to buy. They don't buy because they want to. They buy because they have to. They don't buy the product that you've got. They buy the pitch. They don't buy the solution. They buy the stack. And what we need to do is create this reason for people to buy. Literally, myself included. I was chatting to a very good friend of mine. Many of you will know, one of the biggest names in the industry. He said, I was up at 2 o'clock in the morning yesterday. I said, what were you doing up at 2 o'clock in the morning? So, there was a release from an American company and they gave all these extra bonuses if you signed up in the first hour. So I got up at 2 in the morning to get the bonuses. How many of you have bought stuff because of bonuses, because of add-ons, because of discounts that finish tonight? I've just booked a trip to Jamaica, or my partner's just booked a trip for Jamaica to us, and it said, you've got to book by the 14th of this month to secure this discount, otherwise it will disappear. So the conversation between both of us on WhatsApp is we need to book it before the 14th. We need to get these discounts. I know how this works. I've done this for my whole life. That discount will end, and then 3 weeks later, there'll be another one. It's just par for the course. But it's the way that we get people to buy. People want to feel like they've got a good deal. They want to feel like they've got the best package that they could have got. So we need to create some either urgency, which means it's a limited time. You know, I can offer you this price, but it's only available till midnight tonight. Or if you wanted to sign up now and start in September, but not start till, so you can start in, people say, oh, you know, I don't want to start with you till September. So no problem. You know, if you pay now and start, you can start in September. I'll honour the current price, no problem at all. Otherwise, just so you know, at the end of August, our price goes up and it'll be an extra £2,500, and we can leave it till September, but then it'll be the new price, and we'll just take a deposit today. Which is it that you'd like to do? And you just create that urgency, a reason to buy. If you sign up today, we've actually got an extra course starting next week, or we've got an extra weekend away bonus that expires next Wednesday. Create some urgency as to why they buy now, and it can be anything. You know, just create a reason why they need the urgency. The next would be scarcity. So there's only so many. You know, scarcity. Well, this is the whole oversubscribed strategy by a good friend of mine, Daniel Priestley, who says you've got to know your number. You know, what is your number? Our boardroom program that we've been running for 10 years this year, we're just about going to the 11th year, there's only 15 places. It's £30,000 a person. It's application only. It's one in, one out. And there's a waiting list of people who want to join because it's scarce. There's only 15 places and you can only join if somebody else leaves. It's one in, one out. Because it's been established for 10, 11 years, it's been like that forever. It's one of the easiest products for us to sell, but it's also the highest price point, which sounds backwards, but it's got that genuine scarcity. At the other end of the spectrum, if you're going to sell a cheaper product, but there's a scarcity, it's creating a volume of them and using the pre-sale, pre-sale sales strategy that we teach on Property Entrepreneur, building up that hype, selling behind the scenes like Glastonbury. You know, there's only 210,000 places and they're all released at 9 a.m. on the same morning. All of the work marketing that is done in the 12 weeks before, or the 12 months before. Soon as it closes, join our waiting list for next year. Join our VIP members club. Pay a discount now to join the advanced waiting list for next year. It's all about creating that scarcity where people don't buy what they want, they buy what other people want. Bonuses. Anything you can do to create added value. Things like recorded editions that don't cost you anything else. You want to have like online training programs that you can bolt on, or a free book, a signed book. You know, if you sign up today, we'll give you a free signed copy of this book. Recorded seminars, training, additional educational resources, the ability to have a copy of your black book of professional services, not investors maybe, but the solicitors you use, the mortgage brokers you use, the conveyancers you use, all of these things that don't actually cost you anything. Actually, in that scenario, you would actually get kickbacks from those people who get you suppliers. If you didn't listen to, or if you didn't see my post the other day on social about 5 ways to make more money in the next 30 days, one of those was commissions and kickbacks. You can actually earn money. It's free, but it's a double value stack. Value for the client, value for your suppliers, value for you, because you actually get a commission and a kickback. Any excuse really to get them to pull the trigger is to close. You know, you just need to get them to close. And I guarantee you it won't happen without urgency, scarcity, value stack, reason to buy, or a deadline. You know, that's what you need. Is that's going to get the deal across the line. And that's the RSC. And it's going to take you time, of course. The first few times you use it, it's going to take you a while to get comfortable with it. But then you'll go into a sales conversation and it's completely easy. I genuinely, whether I'm in a sales conversation to sell a £2,000 product or a £2 million development deal, I have absolutely no consideration or concern. I'm not hugely strategic. In my head, it's now my unconscious ability to go through that process. Rapport. Let's get to know them. Get them to relax in their chair. I'm not here to screw you over. I'm here to work with you. Then move into the sales conversation. What do you actually want? What are you actually trying to achieve? What are your objectives? What are your problems? What are the issues that you're having? And then can I actually help? Oh yeah, I'll be honest with you, that's not my field of expertise. If you're looking at going into tech, building an app is not my field of expertise. I genuinely can't help you. If you want support on the business side of things, the team, the brand, the marketing campaigns, the strategy, the pricing, positioning, step changing, forecasting, finances, actually making money, then I can certainly help you with that bit. And then more often than not, they'll say, oh yeah, that's fine. We're doing the tech bit. We've got a company that's building the tech. We're looking for somebody to help us on the business side of things. Great. Let's explore it in more detail. Develop respect, build that trust, create that relationship where you're not trying to sell them something they don't need, want, or like. Want, like, or trust. Don't want, like, or trust. Want, need, or no. And then finally is the close. Is like get them into that close, give them a reason to buy. They want the reason to buy as much as you do. If you say, oh yeah, just give me a call if you want to go ahead, you leave it. That's called an open conversation. You want to always keep it closed. Yeah, thanks for meeting me today. There's no need to sign up today. No need to commit. I'll leave you to it, and I'll drop you a message. I'll drop you a message by close of play Wednesday. I've got a meeting on Thursday with somebody else, and if they want to go ahead, I'll then release it to them on Friday. So if you and I can have a chat Thursday, answer any final questions, make a decision by close of play Thursday, and if you don't want to go ahead, then obviously I'll offer it to these other people. Deadlines, closed conversations, urgency, scarcity. Every email, think about keeping things closed. You shouldn't say, please let me know if you'd like to go ahead, or let me know if you're interested, or if you're interested in this deal, come back to me. Should always be, I'll leave it with you. No need to sign up today. No need to make a decision. I'll come back to you at 10 a.m. tomorrow. I'll give you a call on Wednesday afternoon. I'll reach out to you next Friday. The deadline isn't until the 2nd of August. We've got plenty of time, but I'll reach out to you before that. So you keep control of the communication without feeling like you're being desperate, chasing, or, essentially selling. So a few top tips to finish. The first is when you're having those conversations, you don't want to be selling to them. You don't say, I can do this for you, or I can fix that for you, because it just sounds like sales. Don't sell to. What you want to do is sell through. And by through, you can say, you're currently having an issue with growth. You've been in this business for 3 years. You're pretty much a one-man band. You're having a great time, but now you need to delegate. Rather than me say, right, what you need to do is you need to do this and you need to do that. You say, yeah, I had exactly the same problem. I had exactly the same challenges, relating and resonating. I created a blueprint which worked really, really well for me. What I then did was I refined it by teaching some of my clients. And I've got a client called XYZ who came to me when they were doing XYZ. They were doing 10 deals a year. And got stuck at that bottleneck for 3 years because they were doing it just them and their business partner and his wife. They got stuck in that bottleneck. And then what I did with them was we recruited a part-time freelance team who worked from home, pay-as-you-go contracts. And what that did was that enabled them to go from 10 deals a year to 50 deals a year. And 5 years later, they're achieving XYZ. So I'm not selling to you. I'm selling through you. I'm saying, right, I've done this, relate and resonate, sell through you. I showed somebody else how to do this, and this is what they achieved. And then in their head, they're thinking, that's what I want. And you can de-risk that as well by saying, this may or may not be what you're looking for, but they wanted to make more money and work less. Who doesn't want that? You're defusing it and say, obviously you want to work less and earn more. You say, you may or may not want this, but if you wanted to work less and earn more, and they're like, yeah, of course I do. That's exactly what I'm looking for. It just takes the pressure out of it. So the first is don't sell to, sell through. The second is talk them out of it. Like genuinely try and talk them out of it. But then say, be completely frank. Say, I can take you on this journey, but it's going to be painful. It's going to be difficult. The challenges you're going to have is, and I've said this to multiple clients before, I can take you up to 100 deals a year. I can take you up to £5 million revenue. I can take you up to £1 million a year profit, 500 grand a year profit. But the reality is all of your existing team have been with you for 3 years, 5 years. They're going to leave. Like that is the reality of it. They're going to leave. I worked with this company and it happened. I worked with this company and it happened. I did exactly the same myself and it happened. Giving them the pros and cons, if you and try and talk them out of it, or say, like I said earlier, we can help you with this, but we can't help you with this. We are a content creation, studio, editing specialist. We're not a social media management and audience building specialist. We can help you with this, but we can't help you with this. Just try and talk them out of it. And what it will do is it will provide real credibility for what you can do and who you are. And it'll also carve out the things you can't do and the people and the person or the business that you're actually not. So try and talk them out of it. And then finally is, and this is the biggest one that a lot of people miss, is just ask for the sale. People don't want to ask for the sale. Are you going to go ahead or not? So hopefully I've covered all your questions. Would you like to go ahead? Would you like to buy? So we've got this one here. It's available now. Would you like to buy it? Would you like to sign up today? Here's another one. Rather than, so if you've heard the red coat, blue coat strategy, rather than would you like to sign up, yes or no, say, would you like to buy the red Mercedes? So I'm glad that you liked it. It all sounds good. Did you want to proceed with the red one or the blue one? So if you've got a kid, and rather than say to your child, can you put your coat on, please? Or do you want to put your coat on? Well, the answer is probably no. You say, would you like your red coat or your blue coat? So they're still making the decision, but you're still winning the objective. Would you prefer to go on this date or this date? Would you prefer to go with our hands-free portfolio building service or our source-only package deal? Would you prefer to pay up front or would you prefer to pay in installments? Just ask for the sale, ask for the close. And if you know that you need a gun put to your head in order to buy, you need to put a gun to your own head to ask somebody when you want to sell. Do you want to sign up? Do you want to go ahead? What's your preference? Where do you want to go? Do you want to pay this or that? The final one is just ask for the sale. Like half of sales, I read the statistics once, can't remember what it was, like 30%. Apparently 30% of people buy because they've been asked. Obviously it's not going to be a Rolls Royce or a Mercedes, but it's going to be like something they don't want to say no to. They know, like, and trust you. They've built rapport. You've come and seen them at their offices. Can I just put you down for a box of pencils? Would you just like to buy? Maybe we just sell you 10 reams of printing paper. Okay, yeah, go on, great, let's do it. And it's just the law of reciprocity. It's because you're being asked, they don't want to say no. You'll know some people that just don't want to say no. So you've got to ask for the sale. And that's it. That is the 6 and 7 figure sales blueprint. Whether you want to sell a stack of paper or you want to go and sell £10 million worth of deals, every single person in our sales team uses this same strategy. Literally today, in all of the companies that I own and invest in and advise on, they're using this strategy. It's unique, it's proven, it works, and it's very straightforward. RSC, rapport, sales conversation, and close. Give it a spin. You're not going to get it straight away. Relax into it. Go through the motions. You can't skip the gears, but I guarantee you when you do, RSC, rapport, sales conversation, close, your conversions, your ability, your confidence to go through that, to put yourself in that environment and go through that process will rapidly increase. And the reality of doing 6 or 7 figures in new business sales a year is very, very realistic. Success and failure, very predictable. Go out there, put it into practice. Growth starts at the edge of your comfort zone. Go out there, smash it out of the park, warm the tyres, learn your practice, and I wish you the best of luck getting comfortable with sales, executing the blueprint, and making those tills ring this championship season. Enjoy, and I will see you on the next podcast.